Today I've got a load of fantastic seeds that you can start growing right now. Well, it's March and it's absolutely freezing this morning, and as you can see, everywhere's a bit frozen, but the sun is out and it should defrost fairly quickly. And despite the cold this month, it is finally time to really get cracking on sowing your seeds for this year. There's loads of varieties to start this month, and it's best to still keep an eye on those temperatures, and if you are susceptible to frost, be careful to protect any seedlings that you do have growing. A lot of seeds that you can start this month are generally okay to start in April as well, so if you are worried about low temperatures, you can still just wait and sow them, and honestly it won't make a huge amount of difference to your plants, as in most cases they'll just catch up anyway. Some plants do benefit from having the extra time to grow though, so to extend their growing season, do check on each individual variety and sow them at the best time. As always, I'll make sure that you can check out all of these seeds in the description just in case you fancy growing some of these for yourself. First up, we've got poppies, which are a great one to get growing this month. Poppies are part of the Papaveraceae family, and they produce single, long-stalked flowers in a variety of colours like yellow, red, pink or orange. Poppies can be vigorous bushy plants, and they grow to around 30 centimetres tall with up to 7 centimetre wide flowers. Poppies really like a sheltered position and they thrive in poor, well-drained soil, but it's important to give them full sun just to make sure that those flowers do open. I'll be growing a bit of a selection of poppies this year as part of a wildflower area to help out the pollinators in the warmer months. I've got California Red Chief, California Orange King and Fruit Punch, and they're all going to be going in over the next couple of weeks. I'll be showing you how to create your own wildflower meadow in your own garden in the next week or two, so don't forget to press the subscribe button to make sure that you get all of my new videos with loads of great guides and info to get the most out of your garden throughout the year. Kale is a crop that's increasing in popularity due to its high nutritional content. Kale tolerates cold weather better than most other brassicas, so you can keep it going for longer after the end of the growing season, and it can tolerate light shade as well. It's important to keep kale netted to protect it from birds, as they're especially fond of the leaves and they will eat the lot if you're not careful. Sow your kale seeds thinly, around 1 centimetre deep, in a seed bed with rows around 15 centimetres apart, and you can get those in between now and June. And once your seedlings grow, thin them to around 7 centimetres apart, and then transplant your young plants to the final growing position where the plants have around 5 or 6 true leaves. And it's best to bury the plant just up to under its first set of leaves, and that'll give you a really good strong plant. Next up is one of my favourite plants to grow, and that is pumpkins. Now, pumpkins grow best when they've been started from seed indoors, but don't worry if you've not got an indoor growing space, you can always just sow them later in the year outdoors in a sheltered place. To start your pumpkins off indoors, you need to sow your seeds in medium-sized pots from late March, but if you're growing them in an unheated greenhouse, give it an extra couple of weeks just to be safe, so into the middle of April. Pumpkin seeds are long and flat, and you do want to sow them on the side 1 centimetre deep and keep them warm at around 20 degrees C. If you'd like to grow your own pumpkins this year, I'll leave a link in the description to my guide from last year, and they turned out great, and I'll be growing a load of different varieties this year as well. Another one that really benefits from being kept warm is tomatoes, and you can start them off this month, but it is really important that they are indoors and protected from the cold. It's a common beginner mistake to get really excited and start the tomatoes too early, only to have them die or not germinate at all, and that's just because they're too cold, and generally speaking, sowing them a couple of weeks later doesn't have a huge impact on the productivity. Saying that, if you do have the warm conditions to start them, it is nice to get a head start and get them on the way. Check the seed variety before you buy them, just to make sure that you grow the right type of tomato plants to suit your growing space. Tomatoes generally have 2 different types of growing. There's cordon, which is also known as indeterminate tomatoes, which grow tall plants reaching up to 1.8 metres tall, and they require support or they'll just fall over. Alternatively, there's bush tomatoes, which are also called determinate tomatoes, which are shorter and bushy, and they don't require staking. Tomatoes are really easy to grow from seed indoors, and they're best sown from late March to early April if you plan to grow the plants outdoors, or if you're going to be growing your tomatoes in a greenhouse, you can start sowing them earlier from late February into mid-March. Next up, we've got cosmos, which are half-hardy annuals that grow, flower, set seed and die all in 1 year. But unlike hardy annuals, they can't withstand low temperatures. Cosmos are quick and easy to grow from seed, but they can start flowering in around 12 weeks time. To give your cosmos plants as long a flowering season as possible, sow the seeds early indoors this month. Once they've germinated and they've got 2 pairs of leaves, transplant them into individual 7cm wide pots to keep them growing. And then you can keep them indoors until any frost passed in May, and then harden them off, ready for planting them out into the final location. One of my favourite flowers to grow are nasturtiums. Now, nasturtiums can be sown straight into the ground wherever you want them to flower, and all you need to do is make sure that they're free of any weeds. Rake your soil and make some 2cm deep drills, and if you're using rows, you want to make them 30cm apart. Sprinkle the seeds in carefully and then just cover them up with soil. And I've got loads of different packs of nasturtiums that I've just mixed together. There's Purple Emperor, Empress of India, and some others that I can't remember the name of. And I'm hoping that they're going to produce a mix of orange, yellow, and purple flowers in the summer. And the contrasting colours should look really nice. The petals from nasturtiums are also edible, and they can be added to salads for a strong peppery flavour. One of the main things that I'll be growing this year is lettuce, and that's for the guinea pigs. Lettuce are flowering plants, and they're closely related to daisies and dandelions, and they're part of the Asteraceae family. Now, you rarely see a lettuce flower, and that's just because that's not why we grow them, but it is something that you have to watch out for in the summer, as the hot days can make lettuce plants bolt, and that is just when they go to flower. There are several cultivars of lettuce, and the 3 most common types are leaf, head, and cos, which are also sometimes known as romaine. And you can grow lettuces in full sun in moisture-retentive soil. Early outdoor sowings this month and into April may need protection against the cold, so you can use a cloche, plastic tunnel, or horticultural fleece, and you really do need to keep an eye out for frost, as it will kill any young plants that have started to grow. You can also grow your lettuces in containers or grow bags, and I'll be growing a load of mine in the polytunnel. I've only started a couple of plants off so far, and I've been keeping them in the front porch just to keep them warm before I bring them over to the greenhouse when the temperatures pick up a bit. This month I'll be sowing Little Gem, Cimarron Romaine, Red Romaine Cos, Lola Rossa, and Paris Island Cos. So yeah, I've got quite a few going on. Spring onions are an easy to grow vegetable with loads of different uses. It's best to start sowing them with just a couple at a time every week to keep a regular supply growing throughout the summer and autumn. Sow your spring onions thinly, 1cm deep in rows, 10cm apart. Or you can try a bunching variety like Ishikura, and you just need to sow around 7 seeds at a time of those into a small pot or a tub and just leave them to grow. They won't need thinning out, and you can just harvest them in a bunch when they're ready, just like the ones that you'd see in the shops. If you haven't started them already and you've got plenty of warm growing space, such as a heated greenhouse or a conservatory, you can start off your peppers and chilies this month. It's really important to keep your plants and seedlings warm to make sure that they do grow well. And it's worth mentioning that peppers can take their time germinating as well, and you do need consistent warm temperatures for them to successfully germinate. I've already started off some of my chilies this year, and I've got Scotch bonnets, Naga vipers, Carolina reapers, and Trinidad Maruga scorpions, which I've all started in my guide to growing peppers a couple of weeks ago, and the seedlings are all doing great. I've transferred them into a single propagator to fit inside my DIY growing box to make sure that they do have a constant supply of heat and a longer consistent light supply as well. Early March is the perfect time to sow cabbages for summer harvesting. Cabbages prefer a sunny site and firm soil, so to avoid disease, it's best not to grow cabbages in the same soil that you grew them in or any other type of brassicas within the last year. Cabbages are best suited to growing in the open ground, but you could grow 1 or 2 of them in a larger deep container or in a raised bed. You can either sow your cabbage seeds directly into the soil outside, wherever you want them to grow, or you can grow them in seed trays like this and keep them outdoors to transplant later. If you do want to grow them in trays, it's best to use modular trays like these with 1 seed per square. Cabbages need 30 to 45 centimetres between plants and rows, which is perfect for square foot gardening. I'll be growing these mammoth red rock cabbages this year, provided the wildlife doesn't have them off. And there we go, I'll be putting these in the greenhouse for now, just until I've finished sorting the polytunnel out, because otherwise they'll 100% get eaten or wrecked if I do leave them outside. It's the perfect time to start your carrots, and they're best grown in an open sunny position. If your soil's full of stones or if it's heavy clay, then carrots won't grow especially well, and not only is my soil full of clay and stones, but since it's been rotavated so many times in the past, it's also full of smashed glass, paving flag pieces, nails, and all sorts of other stuff, and it's not especially great for growing things. For that reason, I'll be growing my carrots in raised beds or even just in buried buckets. Early cultivars can go in now, but they do need to be protected from the frost, and the main outdoor sowing season is from April to early July, so it is fine to wait if you don't have the means to protect your early sown seedlings. Sow your seedlings as thinly as you can, and you're looking for around 1 centimetre deep in rows, maybe around 20 centimetres apart, and you want to aim for your plants to be around 7 centimetres apart so you can fit a lot more carrot plants into a smaller space. You also need to be vigilant for carrot whitefly, as this will do in your crop if you're not careful. Finally, for this month's video, we've got Brussels sprouts, and it's probably better to be getting these started off early to give them a good run at growing in time for Christmas. I've gone with Grow Ninja, which is the variety that I'll be sowing now, and you want to be sowing your sprouts under plastic or fleece or in a cold frame around 1 centimetre deep in rows 15 centimetres apart from early March until early April. But it's best to sow them early for the best crops. Just like the cabbages, mine are going in a seed tray in the greenhouse for the next couple of weeks. Once they germinate, if they're in a tray, then thin your seedlings out to around 8 centimetres apart. When it comes to June and the plants have started to grow to around 15 centimetres tall, space your plants out in the final growing position with around 60 centimetres between each plant. Well, that's it for today, and hopefully you've got some great ideas for some fantastic plants to start growing this month. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the great new videos that I've got coming up in the next couple of weeks. Like I've got how to sow a wildflower pollinator meadow, how to grow tomatoes from seed, and tons of other great guides. And if you're planning on growing any of the seed varieties that I've mentioned today for yourself, or if you're going to be starting off some other types of seeds, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.